Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater, out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop's glove! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Grant Fournier, two-run shot to right.
We welcome you to Gloucester Catholic. Well, technically not Gloucester Catholic. We're here in Titletown, in the Holy City. Whatever you want to call this place, we are in Gloucester for a North versus South parochial battle between the Morris Catholic Crusaders and the Gloucester Catholic Rams. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Colin Morris on the call today. Matt Goldman taking over on the production for this Saturday morning matinee. It's our third game of the weekend. It's going to be a fun one, especially considering that this game was awful close last year, just a 3-point difference with Morris Catholic coming out on top at Morris last year, 17-14. What's going to be important, though, is that both of these teams, they got small rosters, but a lot of big heart. Even though last year's game was very close, we'll have to see what happens for GC because their freshman quarterback, C.J. Mitchell, he transferred out to St. Joe's for this 2025 season. So as we go further and further into the 2025 campaign, it's going to be interesting to see. This is one of the last teams to not have played a game. Gloucester Catholic, this is their first of the year. They opened up their season at Morris last year. They do the same this time at home, and it should be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, it's an exciting atmosphere today at Gloucester. I mean, for Gloucester Catholic, this is their opener, right? This is their chance to get one up on Morris Catholic, where this is definitely a winnable game for either team as it was close last year. So it's going to be exciting down the stretch to see who is able to come away with this one.
And I'm really excited to see Ethan Everett. You know, he's one of those guys where I think Morris Catholic is really going to command the air raid today. He attempted 41 passes in their 14-6 loss to Bogota on last week. So we'll just... First of all, we'll introduce ourselves again, Dan Wilkins and Colin Morris on the panel below. But either way, though, we talk about Ethan Everett. There were not any stats inputted for last year, so we don't know how he did last year. But I can tell you how he did 2 years ago. 119 for 211, over 1,000 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And he threw for a TD and 2 interceptions versus Bogota last week. So as we go into week 1 for Morris Catholic, this is game number 2 for the Crusaders, game number 1 for the Rams. We could very well see an air raid attack for Ethan Everett and Morris Catholic with their new head coach, Dave Albano, taking over for Ray Oliver after the 2024 season, where both teams, Morris and Gloucester, went 2-7.
And Dave Albano, I mean, he's as great as it gets in North Jersey football, right? He's a 6-time conference champion. He's won the state championship twice. So I think, you know, him being with Ethan Everett for his senior year, in his first year coaching, it's the third coach that Ethan Everett has seen at Morris Catholic in his 4 years there. So definitely just another adjustment for the senior quarterback, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do with a legend coach like Albano, and it's going to be interesting to see what he can do as well at the helm, because obviously during his sophomore year, it was a pass-heavy offense, but it's going to be big for him to not have as many turnovers.
We're going to take a quick break. We've got the national anthem and then kick off here from Gloucester Catholic. We'll be right back. Gloucester Catholic meeting in the huddle. Kneeling on the sideline, Morris Catholic on the far end, ready to go. Again, Dave Albano, the 24-year head coach at Parsippany Hills, now taking his talents to Morris Catholic for his first year. It's his second game with the Crusaders. Again, a 14-6 loss for Morris Catholic last week versus Bogota. They now return to action on the road. A little bit farther from home, we were estimating, Matt, our producer tonight, he was on a color commentary yesterday. We were estimating if the game starts at 11 a.m., Morris Catholic's probably got to travel about 2 hours to get here. Good chance their bus left before 8 o'clock this morning if I had to put a bet on it. But we're going to get ready to go here from J.A. Lynch Field, the longtime home of the Gloucester Lions. A newer turf, a newer scenery, and the first game of the year for the Gloucester Catholic Rams. We're going to get this one started. Morris Catholic on the left side of the screen. They're going to kick this one off in their navy blue uniforms with light blue, baby blue accents. It's going to be kicked off by Joseph Nkotra, the sophomore place kicker and wide receiver. This one is sent out. It'll be returned at the 15-yard line by the Rams. And, big hit getting dropped by number 1, Dylan Moody. And Gloucester Catholic will start their drive at around the 25-yard line. As again, we'll get this started. The new quarterback for Gloucester Catholic this season being number 17, Lazorko. Gloucester Catholic will take possession. Mike Lazorko, the 6'1", 180 junior, taking over for C.J. Mitchell, who transferred out after last year.
And I think, as mentioned in pregame, Dan, it's going to be interesting for Morris Catholic. As you said, almost a 2-hour bus ride. It's not easy to, sit on a bus in the morning, just woke up, and then you're comfortable and you're relaxed, and then now you have to step up and play a solid game at Gloucester High.
Got to play some football far away from home. As a rush to the right side, getting sent to the ground. We'll see where they put him on forward progress, but it's not going to be a big gain. Looks like the tackle was made by number 4, Alex Marmara. On the right side as the rush handoff by Lazorka doesn't go anywhere. It'll be 2nd and 10.
2nd down and 10 after no gain.
And again, Gloucester Catholic dealing with 3 quarterbacks in 3 years. Remember, Jack Mastero did not play his senior year, but he took a lot of snaps as a junior in 2023, the last time we saw Gloucester Catholic at their home field, which was in a 19-14 win versus Palmyra before the divisional realignment. Send a man in motion. There'll be Elijah Birdsong as that one also gets stopped on the right. Back-to-back rushes for the Rams. Both fall short. And they're basically going to be stuck in molasses where they are. All they do is move to the right side of the pylon, right side of the hash. It'll be 3rd and 10 from the 25-yard line. Again, right back where they started.
And something that's going to be big for Morris Catholic as well is going to be dominating that line. And so far they've done it. They have no yard to gain here on 3rd down. And a stop here for this Morris defense would be huge for an offense that's pass heavy and will definitely be fun to watch today.
Well, already a lot of confidence in Elijah Birdsong, the freshman, who has already gotten 2 touches for GC in this first drive. As they'll line this one back in a different formation this time. 2 wide receivers on the left for the Rams on 3rd and 10. Lazorko drops back, in trouble, uses his head to get forward, but he is also going to be swallowed up at the line of scrimmage. Not only will it be a 3 and out, it will also be 3 plays, 0 yards. It'll be 4th and 10 as 2 rushes and a QB rush of some kind was unsuccessful, and they will send out the special teams unit led by punter number 13, Anthony Polidoro. Back to return will be number 3, R.J. Pepling for the Crusaders. And again, both of these teams went 2-7 last year. Last year's game at Morris was 17-14 as that snap goes high. He's got to punt it. And he gets wrestled to the ground as he punts the ball. And Gloucester Catholic, hold on here. Gloucester Catholic recovered it, but that punter basically got WWE tackled. Question is, what are they going to do on this play here? Gloucester Catholic will have it. They're going to keep. It's going to be back at the 24 here. But here's the thing, though. Again, Albano's coming out. I'm not sure what the situation is here.
There was really no call by the refs.
Yeah, we didn't really get a clear signal as to what's happening. The punt got muffed. The snap went right over his head, and when he went to drop kick it, I mean, he basically got hit as he was punting.
And then we believe it deflected off a Morris Catholic player and into the hands of Gloucester Catholic.
So the way it's look,
We'll await the call here.
Well, Morris Catholic's going to get the ball back. But I think what Casey Murphy's going to argue here, first of all, is that there probably should have been some kind of roughing the punter call of some kind. I'm not entirely sure, but he got hit as he was sending it away. They're going to turn this one over, and Morris Catholic will have their first possession just outside of the red zone at the 25. So already a confusing start to this one. Let's take a look at their quarterback, Ethan Everett, number 11. We do not have his stats from 2024, but we'll tell you from 2023, threw over 1,000 passing yards, 3 TDs, 12 interceptions. And Gloucester Catholic, because of a lot of substitutions on defense, will be forced to burn their first timeout of the day. Crusaders still have 3. Rams take their first. And we'll also take a quick timeout. 9:55 left in the first. No score and a very confusing first drive for both sides. First and 10 for Morris Catholic. Gloucester Catholic burned their first timeout after a very confusing series of events, and Ethan Everett now drops back. We talk about that air raid. He fires over the middle, and it's incomplete. Intended for number 6, Deacon Moody. Had a good pass over the middle, tried to find his man on the slant, and it got batted a couple of times. First of all, it was brought in by the defense number 5, Jaden Rogers.
And it looked like a really solid ball from Everett. I mean, and this is something we saw week 1. You said over 40 passing attempts from Morris Catholic. So the run game was virtually non-existent.
Right.
Week 0. So, it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from that. He was looking for one of the Moody twins, the sophomore, the 2028 grads, who Dylan Moody had a touchdown in week 0.
Rush up the middle. He's going to find a space to break free. Break through several tackles, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Crusaders. Aiden Terrell scores on the second play from offensive scrimmage for Morris Catholic, and they get the South Jersey party started early. Under 3 minutes into the game, they score first. It's 6-0 Morris.
And that was kind of right on cue. I mean, I just said how the rushing game was non-existent. There were no rushing touchdowns or anyone who recorded over 30 yards even in the rushing game last week for Morris Catholic. So, a big start for them after, the punt confusion, and they'll go up early here at Gloucester.
Again, last year's final score between these two was 17-14 Crusaders at Morris. Joseph Nkotra will kick. Dylan Moody to hold. It's up away, and it is a knuckleballer that is good through the uprights as Morris leads this thing 7-0 with 9:41 left in the first. Will stay on the air as an unusual series of events. Gloucester Catholic muffing a snap and now having to pay for that mistake with a 24-yard breaking free rushing touchdown by Aiden Terrell. And Morris Catholic is on the board again. We were going to talk about Ethan Everett a little bit because we had a record set in week 0. Matthew Rossi, the quarterback for Point Pleasant Beach, set the record for the most passing yards in a single game on DWB. That was 266. in a win, in a resounding 37-6 win. Well, Ethan Everett threw for 269 yards in a loss where the team only scored 6 points versus Bogota. So very interesting that Morris Catholic seems to be pass or bust, although their first score comes in the form of a rush. 24 yards by Terrell, the senior back, and Morris Catholic will send this one away and give GC their second drive of the morning. This one's a high kick by Nicotra. This one will go back to the 5-yard line. It is returned by Birdsong, the freshman, and he finds some space. He breaks some tackles. His jersey gets ripped up, and he's going to be right back where he started for drive 1 at the 24-yard line.
Solid return there. I mean, Morris Catholic, obviously, I think that's something they want to kind of polish up on is getting those first tackles down. He very easily could have been down inside the 20-yard line, but the Rams will come out for their second offensive drive.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he only returned it to the 25, but Birdsong caught it right around the 10. So he very well, if he didn't break those first tackles, Morris could have pinned him inside the 15, and obviously the 25 is still not the best field position for GC. We see some kickoffs this year returned all the way back to midfield, but either way, though, you make the best out of what you have, yet make the best of what's around with your situation. And, of course, Nicotra being a powerful place kicker, both kickoffs today yielding short returns. Birdsong in motion, handoff, right side. Gloucester Catholic looking for their first yard gain tonight. That is 4 stops in a row that have been swallowed up as Morris Catholic's defense leaving no mercy on the front lines. And their second lines haven't even been tested yet. So they did get their first yards of the night on forward progress. 2nd and 8 from the 26. As again, just 3 minutes into this thing. And the Crusaders up 7-zip already. Two receivers on the right. Good snap read by the Crusaders on the right side. Hit as he throws. It is caught. And another big stop there by Morris Catholic. The pass was caught, but some great reads on the defensive line by number 19, Vincent Cantu, who really read the snap very well, was able to pressure the quarterback and got Lazorco into getting hit as he threw. Excuse me. Didn't get any gains, but it is his first completion of the night.
Yeah, Lazorco was, under pressure, got out to the right side, just completed that pass for a no gain, but, definitely better than taking a sack. That Morris Catholic line is dominating Gloucester Catholic early on here in the first.
This is their 7th offensive play, and they've only gained 2 yards. That was their first pass completion. They went 3 and out on their first drive, and then the punt was muffed, giving very good field position to Morris as that pass is incomplete. Thrown over the middle and intended for Jack Carr, the freshman tight end, for a very young Gloucester Catholic roster. And now they'll send this one away for a punt. And you got to make sure you get the snap down this time because that snap was well over the punter's head, Polidoro, the last time out. Now they've got to figure out a way to get that snap straight, get it spiraled, get it right into your hands, and send it away. Back to return is going to be it looks like number 3 again, R.J. Pepling. So Pepling to return, Polidoro to punt, and Gloucester Catholic 3 and out for the second drive in a row.
And for Gloucester Catholic, you're going to have to get this punt away as we got some
movement on the offensive line. Left tackle. That's number 4, Brady Timms, who got called that time on the left tackle. I think there was also movement from number 57, Jordan Mendez, but don't think that whatever it was, there was movement on the left side of the offensive line. 5-yard penalty. They now sent it back to 4th and 13, back at the 21. Good snap this time. Oh, and that gets muffed. Goes straight up in the air. It's going to land at the 17-yard line as Gloucester Catholic picks it up, and a muffed, not exactly a muffed punt, but it just went straight into the air. And Polidoro's punting precision doesn't help him there, and Morris Catholic is going to start their drive in the red zone.
And again, and just as I was saying, Gloucester Catholic, they're going to need to get that punt away, and they didn't for the second straight drive. And if they're just going to keep giving Morris Catholic this golden field position, it might be a long one.
Could very well be a long one here at Gloucester Catholic. Last time we covered GC football was Thanksgiving when they played Gloucester here at this field. We were over in the left side of the press box here on this first floor, so not too different of a setup arrangement for us, but back to Everett. Handoff. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This time GC's defense comes up strong. They'll get a couple of yards, and it'll be 2nd and 6 from the 15-yard line now, as we're still not even halfway through the first quarter. And this is already Morris's second offensive drive. And they're already in the red zone, 5 yards deep.
2nd down and 6 for the Crusaders.
And something they were unable to do last week, was setting up that pass game with the run game. It was virtually non-existent, as mentioned earlier. Obviously, we saw the touchdown just a few moments ago, but I really think if they can get that run game going against GC, that it's going to open up that pass game a lot more. And Morris Catholic has one of the more solid wide receiver rooms in the North Jersey area.
Obviously a first for us covering Morris Catholic, as that snap is a little bit high, but he comes down with it. Tries to work through the defense again. He's going to break through again, and he's into the end zone again. 2 touchdowns on the rushing front for Aiden Terrell. And Colin, you might be right. This might be a long night for the Rams, and it might be a long bus ride home with smiles on their faces for the Crusaders. They're up 13-0 just 6 minutes into this game, and they have gotten the fireworks going early as 2 rushing touchdowns, both of 12 or more yards. The first one was 24 yards for Terrell. The second one was 13, and now they'll set up for a second PAT attempt.
And a fun bus ride home, if you will. I mean,
exactly.
Over an hour, 45 minutes to get down to Gloucester High School today for Morris Catholic. But, if they can come out here and get a blowout win, it'll be all but worth it.
Especially after last year with just a 3-point win. That extra point is good. And it's 14-0 Morris over Gloucester in a battle of North versus South parochial powerhouses. We'll be right back here from J.A. Lynch Field. It's the Crusaders 14 and the Rams 0. Back here from J.A. Lynch Field. It's a bit of a hot one today. It's going to be about 85 the high before we get a cold front coming in, and the true feelings of fall weather will be upon us as a low flying kick that time. It's recovered at the first line by number 9, Joey Dever. A little bit of a better field position that time. They're going to start this one at the 32. But again, that was partially because that kick that time from Nicotra ended up not flying as far as he wanted it to, got a little bit of a lower angle, and GC now takes over. Check that on the 34-yard line for Lazurko and crew.
I think this is a huge drive for Lazurko and the Gloucester Catholic offense. I mean, if they can't get anything going here on their third drive, I mean, they've gone 3 and out with very little yardage movement. So, we're going to see what's going to happen here, but it's a big one because we could be entering blowout territory with another, muff punt or another 4 and out.
Well, we had our Thursday night game between Pennsauken and Washington Township where Washington scored 28 points in the first quarter. You kind of knew it was over from there as Birdsong gets swallowed up in the backfield. That is going to be a loss of several yards. It's actually going to be a loss of about 4 all the way back to the 30. It'll be 2nd and 14 with a 4-yard loss for GC. So they're back at their own 30-yard line, which isn't too far from where they were on the first two drives. Second and 14. Again, Birdsong, the freshman, getting so many of these carries. They'll send him out to the right this time. Still two receivers on the left. They find his man. It's almost picked. Wow, he just picked that off with one hand. He picked that off with his left hand. Noah Bilecki came up with that, and that's an interception.
With the interception.
That was tipped in the air. The intended receiver, I believe might have been Brody Baker out there, who was the intended receiver, but he tipped it up in the air when he couldn't get it, and he reeled that one in, like we said, with just one hand. And now Morris Catholic takes advantage of an INT. We'll take over to start the drive. After this play, we have a replay loaded up to show you that interception. Back at the 33-yard line is where this drive will begin. The third for Morris Catholic today. They've gotten into the end zone both times. Now here's Everett. Back to pass. Lets it fly to the right side. He burns everybody, and he's got it. Touchdown, Morris. Just took him one play that time. Dylan Moody's got it, and it's 21-0. And in just 6.5 minutes, Morris has surpassed the amount of points they scored in last year's game. They were up 17-14 with the final whistle last year. This time, they've already put up a 20 spot here at Gloucester Catholic.
And Bilecki, we talked about that interception. It was kind of a quick turnaround there for the touchdown. And, you know, he was their number one guy last year in the receiving corps. And, you know, he returns for his senior season. So showing that he can do it on both sides of the ball. And Morris Catholic starting to run away with this one.
Indeed. They are really starting to get a handle on this game. And there you go. There's that one-handed interception by Bilecki. Extra point is successful, so it's 21-0 in favor of Morris Catholic. Could be a long night. We'll have to see. We'll be back in just a moment. Even with the score, cheerleaders still cheering on here for Gloucester Catholic, and Morris sending this one away. Nicotra again returned. He had a fair catch at the 14-yard line. I can't say I've seen that before, at least not in a long time. I didn't see a clear fair catch signal, but that's what the referees had. He never tried to advance the ball or anything. So Gloucester Catholic now kind of putting themselves at a disadvantage. Starting this drive at the 13, it looks like the 13.
I can't say I see what the point of that was. I mean, Gloucester Catholic had been pretty decent on returns, especially on the last drive.
Yeah, they got it up to the 34 that time.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of extra progress.
Yeah, and before the interception, they were actually in decent field position. Now they're way backed up on their own territory.
I feel like that had to be some kind of an accident. He must have accidentally waved his hand or something that I didn't see. Options it to Birdsong. He is swallowed up in the backfield. And again, Birdsong getting the majority of the carries tonight. Gloucester Catholic not feeling like they need to go to the air. They lost 4 yards that time. They're back at the 10. So it's going to be 2nd and 14 from the 10. Actually, no, they're back at the... Yeah, they're on the 9, excuse me. My apologies. Clock winding down, though, as Gloucester Catholic breaks from the huddle. And with Lazorko back in the shotgun, he's going to be lined up all the way back at around the 5 or 4 yard line. Could be risking safety territory, just like Palmyra did 2 years ago at this place, at this house. Good snap. Rolls it out to the right. He's going to be in trouble. He's hit as he throws. And it is incomplete. And again, hit was in enough time to be legal. It'll be 3rd and 14 after the incompletion to the right, trying to hit the flat on the right side unsuccessfully.
And almost hit his lineman in the back and that. I mean, I'm not exactly, you know, positive on the call, but I'm pretty sure lineman can only go so far, and he was almost throwing to his right tackle. So, you know, not ideal for Lazorko and the Gloucester Catholic offense, and they're going to try to turn around.
Almost lucky that they didn't get a flag called for something like that. No, I hear you. Saw that called in the Barnegat-Manchester game last night, took away a touchdown. In fact, touchdowns were taken away for penalties on both teams in last night's final, which was Barnegat 20, Manchester 2. Dropping back, Lazorko again. This time gets a lot more air on it, and it is incomplete. Ran over one of the defensive backs. Pass was intended for number 8, Brody Baker, and it'll be another 3 and out. 3 in a row for Gloucester Catholic. After 2 punts and an interception, they'll punt for a 3rd time in a game that is very quickly getting out of hand. .417 left in the first. A lot of time for things to go right for Morris. A lot more time for things to go wrong for GC. He's punting out of the end zone. Another one popped up. It's going to be returned at the 20. He's going to find some room. He's going to return this all the way into the end zone. It's a punt return touchdown for Dylan Moody. They're going to put up a 28 spot in the first quarter alone if they get the PAT. Right now it's at 27. But Moody has scored 2. Terrell has scored 2. And it's an offensive barrage, a near all-out assault, just like we saw on Thursday night. This time the visitors, though, taking the life out of the home crowd. It's 27-0. And remember, we still have to play the entire first half without a running clock, because 33 is the threshold. And once it, yeah, that's a rule from 2 years ago now, as that one is successful. So once it gets to 33, you start the second half with a running clock, and no matter what the other team does or what the winning team does, it does not revert. So we're hoping that we don't have to get to that point, but it is certainly trending that way. 28-0, and we still have 4 minutes to play in the first quarter. I mean, this is unprecedented stuff here that we're seeing as Morris Catholic putting on a fantastic show here in this opening Saturday morning football action from J.A. Lynch Field.
And this is just not, you know, something that we would have seen last year. I mean, a 3-point Morris victory. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone had, you know, projected Gloucester Catholic to, you know, host this solid Morris Catholic program and you know, blow them out, but or even take away a win. But it's going to be tough for Gloucester Catholic to get back in the game here, especially still in the first quarter. Still 4 minutes to go.
And when you have a lot of freshmen and sophomores on a team, it deflates the team, you know, kind of emotionally. When you look at the scoreboard and you see 28-0, you think, man, this is not a good start to the season. This is not what we want. They're going to be facing a tough Pittman team next week on the road. It's going to be interesting to see how that game fares, because right now, looks like Pittman might be watching this game thinking that they'll have a chance on Friday. But we'll take a look. Did they do another fair catch? Wow. So Elijah Birdsong, that's the second time he returned something. I think the coach is going to tell him, hey, you can't signal that way or else the referees are going to call it a fair catch. Because you can signal fair catches on kickoffs. It's just an insanely rare thing to happen. And for that to happen twice in a row, again, we can only presume is accidental. And Birdsong, the freshman, who not only has been in charge of the returns, but has also been in charge of the handoffs and the returns. He's kind of done everything today. And now Gloucester Catholic will break from the huddle. Again, up 28 with Morris 28, GC 0. And Gloucester Catholic backed up to their own 12 after a second fair catch on an opening kickoff. Handoff. Getting a little bit of space that time up to around the 14. They'll get 2 yards.
And obviously nothing going for the run game. Lazorko just try to keep that himself and charge ahead for a couple. I mean, I think he got about 1, maybe just a couple inches.
Now 2nd down and 8 for the Rams.
They'll be back up at the 14 again, it looks like. But again, for Gloucester Catholic, this is just such a deflating quarter, and feels like when you're in a situation like this where you're down big early, time moves so slowly. I'm looking at the scoreboard now thinking, how in the world do we still have 3.5 minutes left in this first quarter? But that's exactly how it is. I mean, I'm sure it feels the same way for those players on the field, those players on the sideline. It's a little bit hot out today for a post-Labor Day Saturday. Sun is out. Just a lot of emotions on either side just because of the nature of this game and of the score. Whistles on the play prior to handoff to Birdsong. And it's going to be the first penalty against Morris Catholic. They're going to say it's encroachment on the defense. And maybe that will be what GC needs, is for Morris Catholic to make some mistakes.
That's a 5-yard penalty.
5-yard penalty will bring them to 2nd and 3. Actually, 2nd and 4, it looks like, from the 19-yard line after the 5-yard gain. And again, when you have a mistake that is made by the other team handed to you, you need to take advantage of it. They don't need to get too flashy here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they try some kind of screen pass or something out to a flat, something where they can get those 4 yards needed to get a first down, because you just need a little bit of a spark. You don't need much more than that, but GC has a tight trips formation to the left. They instead hand off to Birdsong again, who is going to get swallowed up at the line of scrimmage a second time. Tackled by Laquan Worthy, number 54. And we'll be right back where we are. 3rd and 4 from the 19. We're around the 18 and a half, it looks like.
And the Morris Catholic, you know, just the kind of the size difference. If you're looking at some of those guys on the D line, I mean, they're just powering right through them. I mean, there's no shot for the run game. Lazorko has no time in the shotgun set, so you know it's
a lose-lose situation.
Yeah,
you can't get the run game going, you can't get the pass game going, and then when you do pass, got picked off on a freak one-handed interception.
And your options
are
dwindling in terms of what to do.
Offensive line can't hold. And that pass is incomplete, intended for a couple of guys down the line. It looked like it was a mix of number 4 Brady Timms and number 8 Brody Baker. And even after the 5-yard offside penalty, Gloucester Catholic still unable to get the party going. And it is a 4th and 4 for Polidoro to come out for a 4th time to punt. And again, I'm thinking if you're R.J. Pepling, the junior, he hasn't needed to touch the ball tonight, because he is lined up far back. We got penalty flags. Let's see what we got here. Offsides on the defense, so Gloucester Catholic's going to get their first down of the game. On the punt, Morris Catholic jumped, and we're going to move the chains. And kind of a small victory for Gloucester Catholic, even with the scoreboard. They get their first down.
I mean, not the most presidented way, or not the most, not the way they would have liked to achieve.
Not the flashiest way to do it.
Right, but Gloucester Catholic will take it and send their offense back out onto the field, and in hopes to get something going here as time runs down in the first quarter. Still in the first quarter.
Yeah, still got 100 seconds left in the first quarter with a 28-0 lead, Morris Catholic. They lead this thing big. I don't know how else to describe it. They're just leading in a big way right now. And Gloucester Catholic going to try to find a way to produce in any way possible. Lazorko in the shotgun. And again, just swallowed up that time. Birdsong again gets the ball. And again, still a minute left in the quarter.
About a 2-yard loss there for for the Gloucester Catholic offense after the first down, as I would have to assume this will be the last play of the first quarter.
That would be my assumption as well. I mean, they're letting the time tick down. They're not too worried about it right now. If you're just joining us, it's all Morris Catholic so far. 28-zip in the first quarter, under 30 seconds left. Lazorko, right side. They'll throw on a line drive. It's caught. Baker will get tackled to the ground. GC wants a flag. They're not going to get it. But Lazorko, that was probably the best pass we've seen from him so far. Keeps it low, keeps it on a line, and got a good spiral and good velocity on it as well. Won't be a first down, but it'll get him a lot closer to it. And it'll just take one penalty from Morris Catholic or a little bit of a gain from Birdsong or whatever to get ahead. We'll have to see, but we're one quarter down, and well, we still got 3 more to play tonight. It's all Morris Catholic right now, 28-0 after the first.
That's the end of the first quarter.
Second quarter here from Gloucester Catholic. This broadcast is brought to you by Rowan College of South Jersey at Gloucester campus, the premier community college of the Northeast and of New Jersey. Become a Roadrunner athlete today by visiting rcroadrunners.com or become a student by visiting rcsj.edu. This broadcast is also brought to you by DAWG Professional Wrestling, or Dog Pro Wrestling, New Jersey's premier pro wrestling organization with high-flying events and nonstop entertainment throughout the Garden State. For more information on future events, and if you'd like to sign up your civic organization, charity, club, or anything in between for your next event with Dog, visit dawgprowrestling.com. Starting the second quarter here at J.A. Lynch Field, it is 28-0. Not exactly the prettiest score, but that's how it is. You know, can't. Sometimes reality hits hard, and that's what we've seen so far with GC lined up on 3rd and 3 out on the left side. That's the first time that side of the field has been touched all day, because Morris Catholic's drives all started out over on the 30 or better, and then Gloucester Catholic never got that far. So flipping the field with the quarters is how that came to be. It's 4th and 3, and in a bit of a surprising move, Polidoro's on the field. I don't know. Just in my opinion, 4th and 3, I would go for it. Nothing to lose here. It's down 28. What happens if you find Brody Baker downfield and get a score? I feel like giving up on this drive down, again, by 28 points. I feel like they got a – oh, there you go. That's a little bit of a nice punt there. They're going to send this one back to the 35. Pepling on the return. He's going to break through a couple of tackles this time, and he's going to bring it back to midfield. And he is tackled by number 11 for Gloucester Catholic. Got a good backspin on that time. Shaden Ridinger coming in on the tackle. And right around midfield is where Morris Catholic will start drive number 5.
And a solid punt. I mean, that's the best punt by Gloucester Catholic today. And the freshman with a solid tackle on the near side. And that'll start him exactly on the 50 as, Morris Catholic in a position to more or less put this game away in the second quarter, while Gloucester Catholic is kind of fending for their lives.
They're really just trying to get any positive wins that they can, and Listen, as reporters of high school football, our job is to make the best out of a bleak situation, and we don't want to tear the kids down or anything. We want to lift them up, and it's exactly what we're trying to do, because we commend Polidoro for that punt, and you commend Pepling for the return, getting it back to the 35, but still getting 15 punt return yards, as that's going to be a gain of 5 on the play. The rush by Aiden Terrell, who scored the first 2 touchdowns for Morris.
And the tackle by Rininger. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a very solid hit.
That was a good tackle to prevent even more carnage that time.
I mean, there were only so many guys left back there. I mean, it was a solid return either way. And, another missed tackle or two, we could have been seeing another house call for Morris Catholic on special teams.
Again, just getting started in quarter number 2. It is 28-0 Morris. We'll have another triple header for DWB football next week. Thursday night, we travel down to Atlantic County, right at the cusp of Atlantic County. It's the Kip Cooper Titans and the Buna Chiefs at 6 p.m. on Thursday the 11th. As 2 receivers on each side for Morris. That was interesting there. Terrell fell down before the play and then struggled to get back up. That's going to be a false start. I don't think I've seen a false start on the running back before, but it looked like he just kind of dropped to all fours. He got into a push-up stance, and then I don't know. I haven't seen that before, but they'll knock him back to the 50.
I can't really tell if Terrell is in some pain, or it looks like it might be a little bit of pain. I couldn't tell if he was just annoyed with himself or...
I don't know what the call was, but they are taking him off the field for this play. So a little interesting. So we've seen, if for those scoring their bingo cards at home, we've seen a fair catch on a kickoff return, and we've seen a false start on a running back. Welcome to small school football, everybody. Out to the right side. It is caught. That'll be a first down, and he's going to get some more out of it, as Pepling all the way to the sideline is going to get inside the red zone, and Morris Catholic again putting themselves in the limelight. A fantastic gain from Morris. And for any kind of success that Gloucester Catholic had, that pass out to the right side, hitting Everett to Pepling. Just a great play there. They're going to score this one at the 15-yard line as they get themselves 35 yards on the play. It's a new set of downs. It's a new set of chains. And they're 1 first down away from dropping the chains for a 1st and goal.
And Everett feeling just a little bit of pressure, kind of one of the first times we've seen that today from Gloucester Catholic, and he just rolls out and fires a bullet on the right side.
Everett, handoff. Believe that's back to Terrell, who resumes his action in the game after a brief layoff. That'll be 2nd down and 7 after a gain of 3. But again, we understand now why, even in a loss last week to Bogota, Everett threw 269 passing yards, and he had 41 passing attempts. Now we understand why, because that game was close. This game is not close. They don't need to go to the air more, but they're doing it. Everett got a 35-yard pass, put Morris in a great position, and now on the opposite side of the field, they're 12 yards away from scoring touchdown number 5. Everett, high snap, handoff Terrell, right side, breaks another tackle. We've got 2 flags on the play, must be for the same thing, as tackle was made by Brady Timms. Wow, GC gets hit with a face mask.
Yeah, an attempt to kind of stiff arm was Terrell, and it was pretty blatantly obvious when his head kind of jerked down when the helmet was pulled by the mask, and that'll be a 15-yard, or it would be a 15-yard penalty. It'll be half the distance for Morris Catholic and an automatic 1st down.
Well, they're going to line this one up at the 3-yard line. And the last thing you want to do if you're Gloucester Catholic is make things easier for the opponent. When you're down 28, you don't want this game to get even more out of hand, because when the game gets out of hand, you risk things getting emotional, things getting personal, We've seen it before where in blowout games, teams, players, there's nothing to lose. Sometimes they'll boil over, and obviously you don't want to see that in any capacity. But I'm saying it's 28-0 in the second quarter. People can get upset. This is going to be a rush to the left side, and it's a touchdown, Morris Catholic. It's the third for Aiden Terrell. He keeps piling them on as 2 of them have been scored for Dylan Moody, 1 on a punt return, 1 on a reception, and Aiden Terrell now with 3 rushing touchdowns. It is now 34-0. Still 7 minutes, 43 seconds left in the first half. And now from the other side of the field, we will see a 5th PAT attempt from the sophomore Joseph Nkotra.
And something we talked about pregame was how non-existent the Morris Catholic rushing game was last week and how heavy the pass game was with Everett. I'm not sure if that was in the game plan for Bogota or what even occurred in that game that is obviously not happening today because Terrell is just taking over at Gloucester High.
34-0. The extra point was unsuccessful. We'll take a quick break, 7:43 in the second, with Morris out in front by a bunch. PAT was no good. It is still 34-0, and it's still good enough for a running clock in the second half if Gloucester Catholic fails to score. Which right now, Morris Catholic trending towards the good. Nkotra sends this one away. Oh, it's muffed.
No.
But he is able to pick it up. He's wrestled to the ground by number 19, Vincent Cantu. And Gloucester Catholic will start their drive from the 26. With 7:38 left in quarter number 2.
And it appears we're going to get a quarterback change here.
They're putting Polidoro as the quarterback. They're changing it out. Only took a quarter and a half for them to switch away, which I find quite interesting. Yeah, they switched the quarterback. Oh, no, they're moving the quarterback to number 10, freshman Nick Milano, under the shotgun. So I'm not sure. I mean, Lazorko is on the sideline with his helmet off, but it doesn't look like he's receiving any medical attention as Milano wrapped up. And it is, right now it's going to be 2nd and 14. Loss of 4 brought him back to the 30. Timeout called by Gloucester Catholic. It's their second of the half. They have 1 remaining. We'll take a timeout as well, as with 7:11 in the second quarter. Quarterback change for Gloucester Catholic, but not much has changed on the scoreboard. It's 34-0. 34-0. Timeout called by Gloucester Catholic. Again, a QB change with the freshman Milano coming in.
Milano taking his first snaps as a Ram in the quarterback position. Obviously, the 2029 graduate. So it'll be interesting to see what changes here on the Gloucester Catholic
I think they'll
offense.
need a little bit of time to get everything settled. But this is very early for a quarterback change. Milano will attempt to pass. It is incomplete.
Milano's pass is incomplete.
Tried to throw it over the middle.
That'll bring up 3rd down and 14.
That ball just trailed a little bit behind for Milano. Is obviously something that's just a little bit different in the quarterbacks. Well, is definitely the size change. I know, still a freshman, time to develop, time to grow and get stronger. But just testing the waters here a little bit with Milano just to see what he's got in his freshman year, and as this game is well on its way to being a Morris Catholic big victory.
Would improve their record to 1-1, and it's kind of crazy that we're talking about records and outcomes because there's still 7 minutes left in the second quarter, but that's how much this game has gotten out of hand. That's what we're seeing. A couple of changes in formation as well with the new quarterback, Milano. That pass got tipped. He didn't really have anywhere to go. Again, with him being kind of smaller stature, just physically, the defensive line was able to come in and stop it. It was Carson Williams, another freshman, who made the play.
It'll be 4th down and 14. Anthony Polidoro back
And then right now,
to punt for the Rams.
it's very interesting to see, again, a quarterback change. No change on the special teams, though. Still Pepperly for Morris, Polidoro for GC. As this will be another punt attempt back at their own 24. Good snap, good punt. And they're going to roll this one all the way back to the 20-yard line. He's going to break some tackles, though. Stays on his feet. He's back at the 40. Still rolling. And what looked like a good punt actually yielded a good return for Morris. They got it back to across midfield. An exceptional return by Pepling that time. Just shocking how Morris Catholic just keeps on going. They keep doing it over and over again. We think there's no way that they can return this punt 30 yards, getting backed up to the 20, and R.J. Pepling finds a way to do it every time.
And Pepling talking about, him and, for Morris Catholic, it was him and Bilecki last week. Obviously, Pepling, the 2027 graduate, but both of them led the receiving game in the 40-plus passing attempts. They each caught over 7 of them for over 90 yards last week, and that was, a decent portion of the 269 yards last week against
Something along, yeah, it was 269 versus Bogota and 41 passing attempts.
for Everett.
This time hits his man on the right side. And no whistles yet. He finally got the whistle that time. Forward progress was long stopped after the reception by Bilecki. And frustrated Gloucester Catholic fans, I'll tell you that much at least. I felt like the whistle was just going to go, and it never got there until he got sent to the ground. But one thing that we also have to consider when it comes to these games is that, with all due respect, this game is not at the top of the priority list for a lot of officiating crews. There was a change made to the rule book, not to the rule book, but I think it was a memo of some kind last year where every team had to schedule a game either on a Thursday or a Saturday because of NJSIAA officiating shortages. So some teams opted in. Is he gone already? He's down to the ground at the 25, but it'll be a first down on another strong carry by Aiden Terrell. But some teams decided to opt into the program and play a lot of their home games, if not all of their home games, on Thursday. Cinnaminson had done that. Riverside hopped into that, and they're playing pretty much all of their home games on Thursdays now. And some of the smaller schools are doing it. But the thing is that because of the refereeing shortage and because more fields are getting turf and lights, Haddon Township being one of them, they're going to start their first night game at Thanksgiving Eve today, or this year. So with the reffing shortage, the NJSIAA kind of made an ultimatum and said, hey, either you schedule a game on a Thursday and make it easier for our officiating crews, or we're going to do it for you. And that was one of those situations where, again, you're not getting the those kind of officials for a Morris and Gloucester Catholic game, with all due respect. Out to the left side, he's going to break free. He's going to get a 26-yard touchdown if he's not out at the pylon, and he is chased into the end zone. Aiden Terrell with 4 rushing touchdowns in the first half. And he has put on a show. He has rushed in from 24, from 13, from 4, and now his longest of the afternoon, now from 26 yards. And with 4:43 left in the second, it is now a 40-0 Morris Catholic lead.
And it's a Terrell takeover, if you will, at Gloucester High. And Dan, I think, last week we saw it, the almost like the player of the week for DWB. I can tell you who's going to be on there this week as a candidate. I mean, Terrell, he has just been excellent today. He's just taken over. There's absolutely no doubt that he has been the difference in this game.
That is the second extra point missed, as that one almost went to the soccer goal on the left side of the field. But with 4 minutes, 43 seconds left in the first half, this one pretty much decided, but we'll still have to play a third and a fourth quarter. It's 40-0 Morris. Morris to kick this one off with Nicotra here from J.A. Lynch Field in what is affectionately known as Titletown for Gloucester High and Gloucester Catholic. Returned at the 15 and brought down right back where he started. It is Jaden Rogers taking over on the returning instead of freshman Arijah Birdsong. But again, we talk about Morris already having played a game this year, had a hard-fought 14-6 loss versus Bogota. They now come in with Gloucester Catholic playing their first game of the year. And they also had a very good scrimmage as well. Morris Catholic had a very good scrimmage versus Kinnelon. And for any of our North Jersey viewers, I'm probably butchering those schools' names, but listen, we don't cover that area very often, if at all. So, like we said, it's Morris's first appearance on DWB, just like last night was Barnegat's first appearance on DWB. We're now up to 120 different high schools covered in New Jersey over the course of our 4 years working throughout South Jersey. And obviously, it's nice to be a little bit closer to home, only about 10 minutes away from the headquarters, the, quote, headquarters. But it's always nice getting a little bit of a North Jersey flair and expanding our markets. First and 10 from the 25. Just over 4.5 minutes left. Hand off to the left side. He'll have a little bit of space, and Birdsong gains 6 yards on the play.
a gain of 7 for Birdsong.
Actually, gain of 7 that time. That's their best individual gain so far.
Go, Rams!
So we're going to be second and short from the 32 with 4 minutes remaining in the half.
Some positive yardage there for Gloucester Catholic, trying to get something going here late. Milano commending this offense now. Pretty much the same offense otherwise. But just looking to get anything going here with under 4 minutes to go, even just to get it across midfield.
You just want a statement for Casey Murphy, those guys, to talk about at halftime. They're going to find a little bit of it. Remember, Gloucester Catholic would need to get the margin within 34 for the clock to not run at the start of the second half. So all they would need is a touchdown and a PAT, because Morris Catholic missed their first 2. So if you can make it 40-7, actually no, that's also a 34-point lead. So you'd have to make it 40-8, which is no, I'm not doing math right. Never mind. There's a reason why I'm in community college, folks. There's a 40-7 would be 33.
It's early for everyone.
It's early for everyone. It's early in the season. It's early in the morning.
No one wants to do math right now anyway, Dan.
Exactly. Freshman QB hands it off to Birdsong with a first down. It's going to be a loss of 2 on the play. They'll go back to the 33. Point is, Gloucester Catholic needs some combination of a touchdown and an extra point, whether it's 1 or 2, to get within the running clock range and get out of the running clock range, get it out of the threshold, if you will, before the half. Because once you get to 34, it does not revert. So if the second half starts with a 34 or better point lead, then the clock will not revert. Oh, 33, okay. Somebody told me it was 34. Whoever that was wrong. Exactly. So my apologies, it is 33. But either way, Gloucester Catholic has 2 minutes now, 2 minutes and counting, to get to that threshold. Handoff by Milano. No good that time. It'll be 3rd and long. 3rd and about 13. They'll back this one up 1 more yard.
That's a loss of 1 on the play.
From the 32. Minute and a half remaining in the half.
30 seconds remaining in the first half.
Stay tuned for some entertainment at the halftime break, where we take a look at the DWB Archives program, where we take a look at the best moments from the past 4 years of working with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, from walk-off home runs to game-winning celebrations, all the way down to the littlest of moments that ended up making a big impact during our over 550 broadcasts on DWB. 1 minute remaining.
It's pretty impressive.
Oh, that
Dan.
snap goes right under his legs. Milano picks it up. He dives on top of it. They're back at the 20. This is going to be a loss of 12. And it looks like Gloucester Catholic won't be getting that touchdown after all, save for a miracle. Polidoro is down, and he's all the way over there. He was trying to get over to the other side of the field. That's the punter, Polidoro, who went down. Now, here's the problem. This kind of creates a little bit of an odd dilemma for Gloucester Catholic. Because this was an injury timeout, Polidoro has to come off the field for 1 play. The 1 play is a punt. So because of these small rosters, Gloucester Catholic only has 23 players. They have to find a different punter for the play, because Polidoro is going to be ineligible because of the injury timeout. So because of the injury timeout, Polidoro again getting assistance on the sideline. They have to punt with somebody else because Polidoro is going to be ineligible for the play. I don't know what's going to happen here. They're sending Reidinger, their backup punter, to do this. And for what we know, Reidinger is a freshman. This is probably his first time doing this at this level.
We'll get a little bit of everything today, Dan.
You're getting a little bit of everything. We've got a backup punter, 15 seconds left. He's punting The line of scrimmage is on the 18. Oh, there you go. He got that one back to midfield. This is going to be returned by Pepling. Breaks a couple tackles to the right. Clock hits 0. He's going to break past the O-lineman, and Reidinger couldn't break the tackle. That is a punt return touchdown to end the half. Are you kidding me? Second punt return touchdown of the day. Pepling gets credit for it this time. And they'll attempt the PAT for what will be, for Dan Wilkins Broadcasting history, a record 46 points in the first half. The record for most points scored in a football game was Woodbury, who scored 58 unanswered points in a 58-0 shutout in the playoffs versus Burlington City in 2023. We could be getting to that point later today. There's a chance. If they get an extra point here, it will make it 47-0 at half, and they would only need 11 points to break the record for most points scored by one team in a DWB broadcast. I mean, this is just pure domination by Morris Catholic. I mean, even Washington Township on Thursday only scored 41 in the entire game, 35 in the first half. As at the end of the first half, the extra point is successful, but it's been anything but successful for Gloucester Catholic. It's been one to forget for GC and one to remember for MC. At the end of the first half, it is the Crusaders 47 and the Rams 0. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. Again, your DWB Archives program is next, and then myself and Colin Morris will join you for the DWB Halftime Show presented by Gray Fox Sports.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need.
And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives.
If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress, but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Launches one foul. See, Mostero's doing us a service here. Or excuse me, D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro is doing us a service here. He's letting us have this conversation by having a long at-bat. But a lot of people are still caught up in the D1 or bust mentality. Listen to this crowd. Listen to this crowd. We'll talk about that later. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Clapping it up here for the Roadrunners. 2-2. Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! 3-run homer! D'Alessandro! And it's a 1-run game at the crack of the bat. 5-4. 3-run shot to center field. Trailing towards the right center, and the cleanup man does exactly what the position orders. Cleaning up. And he does it incredibly well with a 5-4 game. He battles for 11 pitches. And this is going to bring up Andrew Petrick, who has a single in this game. And here's a fly ball popped up right field side.
And it's fair. It's fair. They're going to throw to second for try to get this play, the force out. They got him, but the game is tied. How about it for Woodstown? They complete the comeback to make it 8-8. So now there is one out after Kubat let it fall in right, and because the bases were loaded, you know what? That's a very smart play.
Excuse me, Goldberg is a shortstop tonight, but he had a 400 average in 2023 as a junior. A homer in each of his sophomore and junior campaigns, 331 career mark and a 430 career slugging percentage. And speaking of home runs, there's a fly ball to left, and it's gone! Devin Goldberg answers on opening day with a first pitch rocket to left, and it's 1-0 Bridgewater. We were just talking about the long ball, and he stomps on the plate, mobbed at home, and Goldberg, the leadoff man, with a swing of gold. It's 1-0. One nothing Red Bank.
Now here is Al D'Elia. The man they used to call Big Al has now slimmed down, and he still hits dingers. He went viral in 2018 for his catchphrase during the Little League World Series when he was introduced by the ESPN camera crews and was given his standard introduction. He said, "Hi, my name's Big Al, and I hit dingers." And that sentiment still holds true today. He had his first career high school home run versus Rumson Fairhaven in their opening game of the campaign last week. There's a swing and a miss, 0-2. But D'Elia, kind of a folk hero for baseball players who just want to hit the ball far and have fun while doing it. The poster child now is the poster big fella. Fly ball right center field. This is going to be a sac fly. Taken in by Terranova, and Big Al might not hit dingers, but he certainly drives in runs. It's 2-0.
2 minutes remaining. 4 fouls on St. Joe's. One more and it's a bonus, which would greatly help Gloucester Catholic. The moving graveyard! It's a one-point game just like that! This place is going nuts! And now a drive to the basket by Spross. He lays it up and lays it in! St. Joe's has 2 timeouts remaining. Gloucester Catholic still has 3. Here we go. Mascaro pulls up. He goes to 3! 6 points! Jack Mascaro has tied the game with 90 seconds remaining. How will the Wildcats respond with a miss of
We're back here from Gloucester Catholic. The scoreboard beneath us on the lower third of this screen tells the story. It's 47-0 Morris Catholic. They just set a record for DWB, most points scored in a first half. The record is 58. We'll have to see if they reach that tonight or this afternoon. But as we go into halftime, this game was a million miles different than what it was last year at Morris, where Morris won by just 3 points in a 17-14 win. Again, both teams went their merry way. They both finished 2-7, and one of Gloucester Catholic's next wins was versus Pittman, who they play next week. JC won that game last year 21-20. Last year it was about being close, but just couldn't come up with it when it mattered most. Today, they just seemed deflated, and the scoreboard shows it. I've never seen a game like this, at least not in a long time. 47-0.
And I mean, it's really only been about 2 or 3 first downs for Gloucester Catholic. I mean, this Morris Catholic offense has just been, and honestly, special teams as well, have just been taking over at Gloucester High, and I used the phrase Terrell takeover as a senior. Aiden Terrell,
he's had 4 touchdowns tonight.
The lead running back, has 4 touchdowns and 4 scores. So it's going to be big for Gloucester Catholic to kind of finish this one out and try to move towards that second half of the year, as this is one they're going to want to forget today.
Yeah, listen, I mean, you got a program with 23 kids on the team. There's 30 kids on the Morris Catholic team. There's 23 for Gloucester Catholic. Their quarterback is out for the rest of the game. They've brought a freshman quarterback, their backup, Nick Milano, in for the rest of the way. The running clock's going to be going, so maybe it'll be a little bit better, and maybe Gloucester Catholic can get some points on the board. But if you're Morris Catholic, you got to be feeling really good right now. You won last year's game by 3 points. You bring in a new head coach. Ray Oliver stepped down, and now you've got a 24-year Parsippany Hills head coach in Dave Albano, who just came in and on their first road game far away this year, where they drove an hour and 45 minutes for an 11 a.m. kickoff to get this party started. You have 4 rushing touchdowns, a punt return touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and a 47-point first half. You don't get much better than that if you're Dave Albano.
And you don't, and Albano, he is a absolute coaching legend in New Jersey. I mean, he is easily going to go down when he calls it quits at the end of the day. He's easily going to go down as one of the best in North Jersey, but probably one of the best in the whole state to ever do it. And when he decided to come over here from Randolph last year, as he's obviously been in 3 different seasons, 3 different head coaches, if he's going to conduct this Morris Catholic team like he is today, they're going to be in for a lot of winning. And he's already a 2-time state champ, so he knows how to win. He's working with an experienced senior quarterback who has been bounced around from a lot of head coaches, but he's finally got his experience. He's finally got his guy, and Morris Catholic is well on their way to their first win of the 2025 campaign.
And they'll have the rest of the 25 season to develop Ethan Everett, who, again, in his sophomore year, passed for over 1,000 passing yards. We've seen a lot of that today. He passed for 269 yards versus Bogota last week in a 14-6 loss. But the clock hitting 0, Morris Catholic finally getting their chance to take the field after an extended stay in the locker room. We'll take a quick break. Again, Morris 47, Gloucester Catholic 0. The running clock will be in effect for the rest of the game. We'll have 24 more minutes to play, and all of them will be under the running clock. We'll be right back. 2 quarters down, 2 quarters to go. Again, for the entire 24 minutes of the second half, we'll have a running clock. As it is 47-0 Gloucester Catholic. There is a new place kicker as well for the Rams coming in. Number 70, Dan Cavanaugh. No relation to the Point Pleasant Beach Dan Cavanaugh that had 190 receiving yards last week. Return up the middle. It looks like both teams have put in a lot of their reserves. Ridinger on the tackle. The return for Morris made by number 4, Alex Marmara. Question is, will Ethan Everett remain in the game at quarterback, or will we see a second half surprise?
And as I look over on the sideline, I see him standing around, towel on the neck, hat on. I mean,
so I think he's done.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be seeing the field again today. And why should he? Because, you know, it's going to be good for Morris Catholic's, you know, second stringers, some of their JV guys to get some work here, you know, on a varsity level. But, you know, Albano trying to spread out his guys a little bit. I mean, he's up 47-0. There's no need to, you know, continue
no need to rub it in. Yeah.
Right, of course.
And also, you don't want to risk injury. I mean, Gloucester Catholic's quarterback is out with a concussion. So the new QB in the game for the Crusaders will be number 1, Dylan Moody, who has already picked up a couple of touchdowns, and a flag comes flying in on the rush. Offensive holding on the rush that time. Usually see that on passing plays, but the referee saw it on the offensive line, and the holding call knocks them back.
That'll be holding on the Crusaders. That's a 5-yard penalty. Brings the ball back to the 39-yard line.
So one of the first, actually the first play from scrimmage in the second half sees a 10-yard penalty, bringing us back to the 34.
Ball is spotted at the 34-yard line.
Not much you can say right now with this margin. Both teams with their backups in. Gloucester Catholic made a quarterback change midway through the second quarter. Again with Nick Milano. High snap to Moody. Hand off to the right side. He is brought down for a loss. This is going to be 3rd and long as the rush by number 19, Vincent Cantu. Tackle made by number 77, Braden Startar. Excuse me. I have a credible source correcting me to my left, not some stranger. So they do knock this back very far. First down marker is all the way across at the Gloucester Catholic 46. It's 3rd and 25. Now, last week we saw Paulsboro convert on a 3rd and 29. So it is not out of the question with how Morris has played this afternoon. Good snap, dropping back. He'll pass to the left. It is incomplete. Pass just fell up a little bit short, intended for the freshman Carson Williams. And it'll be 3 and out for Morris as they have a long way to go for a first down. And they'll send this one away. Again, that running clock basically means everything because we were 3 minutes into the first quarter when Morris scored first. We're already 3 minutes into the third, and that was just the first drive. So it's very time-saving, and I mean, I kind of like the new rule. It's not exactly new. It was implemented, I believe, 2 years ago. The old rule used to be it was 24, I believe, was the margin. And then if the losing team had gotten into that threshold, had started to come back, then the running clock would stop. They're going to call for fair catch. That time, I like the fair catch from Birdsong. It's back at the 39. Gloucester Catholic, first of all, good punt by Morris that time. I feel like most of the compliments we've been handing out today have been on the punt side. But Uriah Birdsong, the freshman, calls for the fair catch and gives Gloucester Catholic their first possession of the second half from the 39. Yeah, the old rule saw that if it was 24 and then if the losing team started to come back, they would stop it. And now it never stops. Unfortunately, I think the unfortunate part of the new rule is that, you know, teams don't really have much of a choice to come back, but also the threshold is so high that especially at the high school level, it's unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely that we would see that. Now, there is time on the field. It looks like Morris called their first timeout of the day, or of the half, although, to be fair, they didn't call any in the first half, so it is their first timeout of the game. Still 47-0. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper pass on the first attempt. If you like those odds, you can book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman at 614 Lambs Road. This broadcast is also brought to you by Gray Fox Sports. Enhance your sports photography and make your next game one to remember with Gray Fox Sports. Contact him today for photos and more information at grayfoxsports.net or Gray Fox Sports on Instagram and Twitter. 1st and 10 for the Rams.
First down and 10 for the Rams.
I believe Baker is the new quarterback because Milano is on the sideline. We have now a third quarterback coming in for Gloucester Catholic. That is Brody Baker with the Guardian helmet on, the padded helmet, who is now entering the game as the third different quarterback to take a snap for Gloucester Catholic. And he is also a freshman. So Milano, Lazorka Jr., Milano, and Baker, both freshmen. Might mean the first time we've seen a quarterback wearing the, quote, Guardian helmet. I believe it's called a Guardian helmet, that padded helmet used mostly in practices, but they did allow, the state started to allow that being used in games just a few years ago. And he is taken down for a loss. He got 3 yards on the last play. He gives it all up there, and it'll be 3rd and long, 3rd and 11 for GC.
And this is where things are going to get tough for Casey Murphy and the Gloucester Catholic staff is getting, the correct personnel in. You're dealing with your injured quarterback. Your second string is already out of the game. You're bringing in a third stringer who's also a freshman. And
is also a wide receiver.
Right, so, your personnel is kind of all over the place. In a 47-0 game, it doesn't mean as much, but I think this will be something good for Gloucester Catholic to test out some things, even though they're down a lot here. I mean, they still have plenty of season left, so,
exactly.
I think it's good for the squad and the coaching staff to figure out what's going to work here down the line, because you got to make the most of this 24 minutes, now under 20 minutes, that you have left in week 1.
That's the benefit of the running clock. As Baker runs out to the right, it's incomplete. Intended on the left side for Jaden Rogers, a sophomore, and it'll be 3 and out. So that's one of the benefits of the running clock. We're already halfway through the third quarter, so it's probably something that we'll be getting out of here a little bit earlier than maybe expected, but that first half was also so long. But also at the same time, it's 12:33. Kickoff was at 11. Might have a sub 2-hour game, if not very close to one. Well, I'll tell you this. When we were here for Paul Myra in GC in 2023, it was a 3-hour and 9-minute game because of over 20 false starts. A punt, and it was... I do remember that game. So our clock operator to the left for the Referees Association was here for that Palmyra game, and they kept running the same play that was an illegal formation in the first half, and they kept running the play anyway. So we're reminiscing from our first season of DWB action. Dominic Perry was on the personnel for that game. A Gloucester City resident, as Morris Catholic, after a successful punt, will get them field position at their own 32 to start this drive, already under the last 4 minutes of the third.
And this is, one of the Moody twins, Dylan, I believe, at the quarterback position now. And, he's been doing it on special teams, and, he did it last week receiving-wise. It seems like a little bit of miscommunication there.
There was definitely miscommunication. And now an injury on the Gloucester Catholic side. Rogers is down holding his right leg, but that was an interesting play for Moody because his intended wide receiver was number 8, Carson Williams, who's been targeted a couple times today. But with Williams, his head wasn't turned towards the ball. he was just running straight into a block, and I don't think he knew that the pass was coming his way. So a little bit of confusion there for MC, Morris Catholic, and ended up getting himself into a little bit of trouble. No harm, no foul, though, with it being a incompletion. But the clock stops with 3:25 left in the third.
And for Gloucester Catholic, I mean, we've talked about it time and time again. We have the roster in front of us. I mean, it's what did you say then? 23-man roster?
23 for Gloucester Catholic, 30 for Morris.
Yeah, so obviously two small programs, but Gloucester Catholic already lost their quarterback, so now you're down to 22, and then lost their punter, who I'm not sure if he is re-entered or not.
I don't see Polidoro on the field unless
he's on the sideline to our left.
Oh yeah. So both Milano, the backup quarterback who finished the first half, and Anthony Polidoro, the punter, have both taken their helmets off on the sideline, and both of them still have their cleats and full uniforms on, so I don't think that their days are entirely done. But, I mean, we talked about their quarterback for Morris, Ethan Everett. He didn't start the second half, and it seems like his day is done.
Yeah.
Which, again, deservedly so. You put your team up by that much, you deserve a little bit of a break. You deserve to have the rest of the game off. And, I mean, listen, they're going to be going into some tough matchups in Week 2 and Week 3. So as Morris Catholic goes forward, you take this win, you use it as a little bit of a chip on your shoulder going into next week. But next week could always bring a new day. They lost by 8 points, 14-6 last week, and now turning the tables up 47 now in the third quarter. That's a rush to the left side rather. Rush by Cantu on the play. They'll get up 3 yards, and it'll be 3rd and 7 from the 35, still in Morris Catholic territory.
And we were talking about the Gloucester Catholic roster, right? Their punter and one of their top wide receivers, and obviously their starting quarterback both out. And now that was Jaden Rogers, the sophomore, who just came out. Where obviously I think it looked a little worse than it was, possibly, considering he is kind of being tended to on the sideline right now, but could potentially have just been a cramp. But still, I mean, those three right there were 1:57 to go in the third quarter, and they're down 3 players. So a 23-man roster goes to a 20 now.
That's caught on the right side by Cantu. They'll be short of a first by about a yard. They'll get up to the 41. So that is not Polidoro with his helmet back on. Right now, there are 4 players for Gloucester Catholic. Milano has his helmet back on. So make that 5 players for Gloucester Catholic that are roaming the sidelines with helmets on. That's number 54, Joe Slavin. Number 70, Dan Cavanaugh, who was a place kicker earlier in this half. Number 10, Nick Milano. Number 21, Dean Hennessy. And number 62, which is not on our roster. So there's not many guys left for Gloucester Catholic, and that's why this game is pretty much decided. On a 4th and short, let's see where the referees call this. They say it is enough for a Morris first down as we enter the final minute of the third quarter. They'll move the sticks. They got a yard, and they're at their own 42.
And we'll get one more play here before the end of the third, but, I mean, the quickest quarter so far, go figure, with the clock running. But Morris Catholic just chewing some clock, getting some backup, some work in. I mean, that was a decent pass on second down by Dylan Moody. So, not bad work here for Morris Catholic. And Gloucester Catholic, obviously, it seems like most of their guys are out.
Either out with injury or out for the rest of the game given the scoreboard circumstances.
Right.
It's the last snap of the third. They're going to let this one fly to the left. Oh, and it's incomplete. Intended for Williams.
Oh, now another player goes down.
Oof. That's Joey Dever down this time. The clock is running, but I think what the officials were doing was they were waiting until the third quarter was over so that they can have some extra time to attend to Dever. At the end of the third, score hasn't changed from halftime. Morris Catholic 47, Gloucester Catholic 0. fourth quarter. The clock has already started for the fourth quarter. Joey Dever was down, had some assistance getting off the field. And as the sun pops back out on an otherwise cloudy day, 2nd and 10 after an incompletion intended for Williams. High snap. Moody hangs on to it. Offensive line breaks. And he's still on his feet. Now he's brought down right back before the line of scrimmage for a loss of 2. Again, about 15 seconds had already been burned off of the fourth quarter clock before we came back to air. Don't forget, our next broadcast will be Monday, September 8th, for our first boys soccer highlight of the season. We see 2 BCSL powerhouses between the Northern Burlington Greyhounds and the Delran Bears from the Bears Den. 3:45 kickoff in BCSL action. Chase Parson and myself will be on the call for that one. And then another Group 1 triple header starting on Thursday. We've got Kip Cooper and Buna on Thursday night. We then have Overbrook and Pennsville on Friday. And then my alma mater, Audubon, facing off against Bordentown from Audubon High at 11 a.m. on Saturday, September 13th. Going to be a busy weekend for the DWB crew. Moody drops back on 3rd and long, finds his man on the right, and he will get sent down right back at the line of scrimmage. I would imagine forward progress advances him a little bit farther, but the catch made by sophomore Joe O'Kane.
And Rittinger with a solid tackle there. I mean, kind of got him right as he caught it. Forward progress obviously kept him where he was, but a big 4th down tackle, and that's just something that Gloucester Catholic's going to have to do down the stretch here is get back to the basics and work on, simple tackles on punt and kickoffs and, just getting that first guy. Because if you're going to let Morris Catholic, or any team for that matter, break 5, 6, 7 tackles at a time, then, it's going to allow for a big game like this. As
4th and 7.
Realize what I did there.
Go back to punt. Popped up. Fair catch again. Oh, no, he's going to.
Oh, no.
Well, he's got to let this one roll back. Picked up at the 4-yard line. So we're going to be in safety territory with the clock running. And it was a fantastic punt by Morris Catholic. I believe they're going to be around the 4-yard line, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that was a very long distance punt, but they're all the way back there. Excuse me, they're on the 5. This is something. Well, we already had a safety last night in the Barnegat-Manchester Township game. The final score of that was 20-2, and a kind of a non-conventional football score. Must be a DWB scoregami, if you ask me. But they're back at the 5. Baker back at the quarterback position. He's the 3rd Gloucester Catholic Ram to suit up as a quarterback today. And now another timeout on the field. Gloucester Catholic will burn their first timeout of the half. We'll take a quick break. 8:22 in the 4th. Morris Catholic up big. .8:22 in the 4th. Gloucester Catholic called a timeout. Both teams have 2 remaining. Running clock resumes. Baker, handoff to the freshman Birdsong. Still on his feet. We'll get about 4 or 5 yards that time, and we'll get to the left hash around the 10-yard line as Birdsong getting lifted up by his teammates there. 2nd down and mid-range. Hold on, we've got another stoppage. Birdsong struggling to get up here. Birdsong was getting assisted by his teammates to get up. And then, he down again on the right side of your screen. Just took his helmet off. Well, the more stoppages you get, even with a running clock, it feels like the clock isn't running much at all. But, hey, shout out to the Gloucester Catholic athletic training staff who have been attending to these players who seems like a lot of it has been cramps. We usually say week 0 is cramp week because it's August, it's hot, and we saw Collingswood Clayton last year with a whole bunch of those. And as you guys get further and further into the game, I mean, it's listed as 88 degrees today, which kind of shocking for a post-Labor Day weekend. It's going to get a little bit cooler, but a lot more fairer. Yeah, there's going to be some heavy rain coming tonight. There's another parochial football game between Newman Goretti of Philadelphia and Camden Catholic. That game was supposed to be a Saturday night 7 o'clock kickoff. It got moved up to 3:30 today because of impending thunderstorms. And obviously with Newman Goretti having to travel from Philadelphia across the bridge to face Camden Catholic, they'll have to, again, they moved up the start time by 3.5 hours because of it. Second and mid-range. Birdsong was on the carry on the last play, and now that one is stopped. Timms with the carry that time gets snuffed out at the line of scrimmage. It'll be back to 3rd and 5 from the 11. Looks like maybe a gain of 1.
Gain of 1. It's 3rd down and 4.
Don't forget, if you're a small business who's interested in sponsoring Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we offer advertising plans that are affordable to the small business and also give you full creative freedom over how your business is presented on our network. In front of over 110,000 annual viewers each year, you can advertise with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting by sending us an email with an inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That's one is into the end zone. He slid to tackle it, and it's a safety. We have a safety, second one in a row, for DWB at least. We had one last night, and he didn't really have much of a choice, although he probably shouldn't have slid in the end zone. But I don't know how much of a choice he had. Brady Timms, he kind of went into a foot-first slide into the end zone to recover it. If he just picked it up, he had a chance of maybe getting it out. But 2 points doesn't make too much of a difference right now, and it makes up for those 2 extra points missed by Morris Catholic, which makes it now 49-0, 6:24 in the 4th.
And, just continues to look worse and worse for Gloucester Catholic, and this is definitely going to be a week 1 game they're going to want to forget down the road. Not a whole lot coming out of this for Gloucester Catholic. It's I'm trying to.
What's interesting is that even after the score, the clock is still running. Now it's still going. It got under 6 minutes left. Although, again, I don't know how much of a difference it makes at this time. But this has been a funky game. I'll tell you that much. Again, 49-0. Morris Catholic, they'll go back home to Morris with a 1-1 record in the Dave Albano era. Just getting started, as Gloucester Catholic will send this one away for a free kick. Cheerleaders doing their solo performances to give the crowd something to cheer for the home crowd. I mean, listen, I'm just saying that's
something.
Yeah, I mean, some of the fans have left. Wasn't a huge crowd to begin with for the Saturday morning, but Gloucester Catholic still trying to stay in it for whatever it's worth. As again, it's hard to find, good things to talk about in this game just because of how lopsided it is. But we've dealt with these games before. We had Washington Township up 41 points on Thursday night versus Pennsauken. It was 35-0 at the half. This one was 47-0 at the half. And we've just picked up our safety as Kavanaugh out to the right. Eddie Fair caught the free kick. They're going to start this at the 48-yard line. That was taken by Morris's number 65, it looks like, James Boyce. But Morris Catholic will go back to again, about an hour 45 drive. They face Holy Trinity of New York on Friday the 12th. They have back-to-back home games after today. They had their home opener versus Bogota, lost 14-6. They face Holy Trinity and Mawa on the 20th. That's a Saturday afternoon game for them. And then away at Parsippany after an off week, home to Pecanic, the hometown of Derek Jeter. The Mountain Lakes on the 17th, Madison on the 24th, and then they have a Halloween night game at Hudson Catholic on the 31st. So that's interesting because there is an extra off week before playoffs start for non-public schools because there's a smaller field, but that'll be interesting though. I forgot Halloween's on a Friday this year. We're gonna have to wager a little bit what we're gonna have to balance what we're doing. I pledge right now if there is a Friday night Halloween broadcast that I will show up in costume. I will show up as something. I don't know what it'll be, but if we have a playoff game to open up on Halloween Friday night, I have to show up in something. Maybe I'll wear those cartoonish glasses and be Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live, a van down by the river. It's a lot of different things I could be. 2nd and 9 with under 3 minutes left to play. Snap, handoff to Joseph Nicotra, the place kicker, who's done a little bit of everything today, picks up a rush on his credit. Again, Gloucester Catholic, they'll start out their year 0-1 with the loss today. They go on the road to Pittman next week for a Group 1 matchup versus the Panthers from Davis Field. They are then home to Clayton, away at Sterling, home to Audubon on October the 4th for a Saturday game, home to Gateway on the 11th, away at Haddon Township on the 18th. They do close out their season with a home game versus Mastery Camden, but it's right now unsure if that game will happen because Mastery Camden did forfeit their first game versus Clayton. Their head coach, Brandon Beeler, resigned on August 13th. They have not hosted a practice at all. So it's unclear, as we have not received any information about Mastery Camden, whether or not they will field the team at all this year, or if it'll be like a Lindenwald situation where they're going to only play a portion of the games and play some at the JV level. But either way, there's maybe a good reason why that Audubon game is scheduled, because otherwise they wouldn't have much to – they would have 2 off weeks there. And some little extracurriculars after the tackle there, number 57 for Gloucester Catholic, and then number 77, Luke Stadmauer, the freshman, and it'll be 4th down. Clock is running, 1:15. Again, funny how the time goes by with the running clock. First half took forever. Second half is almost done. And again, stay tuned for our post-game show presented by Harper Driving School, and then DWB Soccer on Monday, September 8th, between the Northern Burlington Greyhounds and the Delran Bears. 50 seconds left. It's 4th and 7. They'll have time for one more play, and if they don't convert, Gloucester Catholic will have time for something. Trips left. Actually, no, looked like he was just behind there. They're actually going to kneel on 4th down and force the turnover out of the shotgun. So with the clock running, they will not have Gloucester Catholic run one more play. We'll line it up at the 50, and we'll get out of here. Final score, Morris Catholic 49, Gloucester Catholic 0. Pure domination from the Crusaders in a game that was a 3-point difference this time last year at Morris. This time, the Crusaders traveled nearly 2 hours down the road to Camden County, and they put on a clinic. 35 points. I think it was something along the lines of 28 points in the first quarter. They added on a whole bunch more, and then 47 at the end of the half, only scoring 2 more points on a Gloucester Catholic safety to end the game. What a night it was for Morris Catholic, and what a night to forget for Gloucester Catholic, as this is going to really shift the momentum going into next week. road game at Pittman at the very intimate Davis Field. It's going to be a very interesting game for Gloucester Catholic because starting your season 1-0 is never something that, or starting your season 0-1 is never something that, never a precedent that you want to set. But after losing last year's game to Morris by just 3 points, the difference between a 3-point loss and a 49-point loss is staggering. And that's what we've seen from the final tonight. And, Morris Catholic meeting on the field here, just talking about what they did right. And I'll tell you what they did right. They rushed the ball. After 41 passes by Ethan Everett, once this game got out of hand, they realized they didn't need him. They didn't start him at all for the second half. They started Dylan Moody, who isn't even listed as a quarterback. They only have Ethan Everett listed as a quarterback on this roster. And that's how it was. I mean, this was a very dominant game from start to finish. Only took 3 minutes for the first score for Morris. Gloucester Catholic just couldn't keep up. Took them a long time to get even a first down. And at the end of the day, Morris, you blink and you miss it. And then they were up 28 at the end of the first quarter. So a very funky game nonetheless. But Morris Catholic will go back to Morris next week versus Holy Trinity of New York, 1-1.
Yeah, and for Morris Catholic, it's going to be what's next for them. We talked about it with Collingswood last time I was on with Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, and they're picking up their first win of the year in week 1, and they're just going to move forward and continue that. Obviously a legendary coach picks up his first win with a new school, so congratulations to Albano and the entire Morris Catholic staff on their first win. But for Gloucester Catholic, it's back to the drawing board. It's what's going to be worked on in practice this week. I think, I'm not a huge football expert kind of guy, but if it were my decision, I think it would just be back to the basics. I think it would be simple tackling, punts, kickoff returns for Gloucester Catholic, because the special teams, right, they lost 49-0, and
right.
That's not just all on special teams, but in terms of, things that, step by step you're going to build and correct and grow to get better as this young program. And Casey Murphy, if you're him, I think it's just going to be back to basics, back to Gloucester Catholic football, and we'll see what they have next in week 2 as they will fall to 0-1 and be on the road for week 2.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Pittman and GC with a really close game last year. It was a 1-point win for GC, one of 2 wins they had. 21-20 was the final score of that game. And that was the one game that actually prevented Pittman from getting into the playoffs. There was a bit of a controversy about it last year because Pittman, if they had gone 8-0 undefeated in the regular season, they would have been guaranteed a seat at the table because of the funky PowerPoint system that we use. And I could go on a podcast for 2 hours and talk about every complaint I have with the football PowerPoints, UPI, whatever you want to call it. Whatever system you want to use, I don't like it, but there's a million different reasons why. My point is that if Pittman had gone undefeated in the regular season, they would have made the playoffs. That loss to Gloucester Catholic last year here at GC was the reason why they didn't. So, long story short, this is a defining loss for Gloucester Catholic, and it's going to come down right now to whether or not they can rebound from that next week. They can still have a respectable season. I think that this was a big learning curve for them, and we like to say sometimes that reality hits you hard, and it does. In that case where Lazorko suffered an injury, he was out midway through the second quarter. They brought in Baker and Milano, 2 freshmen, who had never lined up at quarterback at the varsity level before. Lazorko taking over for C.J. Mitchell, who transferred out. It's a new-look roster. Everybody but the head coach is new for Gloucester Catholic. And tonight was their first step. We'll see if that first step starts to go forward next week or if they'll continue going backwards, because there's a lot of different ways that it can go from here. This is just the first step. We'll see where it takes them. Any final thoughts before we close?
Just another solid Morris Catholic game. I mean, Ethan Everett continues to make the correct strides, and as we talked about pregame, him as a sophomore, right? He, it was a pass-heavy offense the last 2 years, but as a sophomore, as we talked about, he had 3 touchdowns, right? He had 12 interceptions as well. So doing something today, he had 2 interceptions in week 0 against Bogota, but something today, 0 turnovers for him, and obviously in a blowout, no interceptions is good, and that's something that he's going to need to, improve on from his sophomore year, and I think he's taking the correct steps there. So, obviously, a very solid game all around for Morris Catholic. Not much to say you can do they did wrong.
Right.
So,
because once the game was in their control, they had it, and they
Right.
were gone. And I think that Morris Catholic has a lot to look forward to, especially with their back-to-back home games versus, Holy Trinity coming up. That's going to be very fun. You've got a very experienced head coach like Dave Albano, who is going to be, leading this team for the way. This is his first win with the Crusaders, and now the table's different. You go into next week back at home facing an out-of-state team like Holy Trinity with a little bit of swagger, a little bit of confidence. They look back at the tape today and say, hey, this is what we did right, this is how we did it right, and this is how we improve on it. Do I think that Ethan Everett is going to attempt 41 passes like he did versus Bagata in Week 0? Probably not. That Week 0, just like it was for Week 1 for GC, an adjustment period. Every team needs an adjustment period, and whether or not this game will be consequential for either side is to be determined. We could look back at this game in late October and say, okay, well, this was obviously a writing on the wall sign for Gloucester Catholic, or we could say, listen, this game wasn't good for them, but look at all these wins they had in the second half of the regular season. We won't really know for sure, and time will tell whether or not this game will be consequential for either side in their 2025 campaign. So I think that'll be all for us tonight on DWB. Our next broadcast will be Monday, September 8th. We've got BCSL boys soccer action between the Northern Burlington Greyhounds and the Delran Bears from the Den. It's a powerhouse matchup in Burlington County. 3:45 is the opening kickoff on Monday. And then our next football game, Kip Cooper at Buna from Atlantic County on Thursday, September the 11th, kickoff at 6 p.m. From our entire crew on DWB, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Carson Rosso, my producer for the second straight day, Matt Goldman, my color commentator of Highland Regional, Colin Morris. I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend, and stay cool out there. It's a hot one this Saturday afternoon. 49 for Morris, 0 for Gloucester Catholic. Have a good one, folks.